this text came and jumped in, clothes, boots and everything. War's over, war's over. And then we looked, there's planes coming in.
That's when all the interesting stuff
Yeah.
began.
That was New Mexico,
Mm.
right? You
Yeah.
were in New Mexico.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I could still picture the trucks coming, picking up all the Germans. Gosh,
I'm sorry, what time did you say you needed to go to lunch?
about 12:20.
Okay, well, it's about 5 to 7.
That's nice.
It's quarter after 11. So you can hang out for another hour?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, we talked about Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had 2 more things on my list here I wanted to talk about. Halloween. Did you guys do, what, as a kid, did you do Halloween trick-or-treating, doing costumes and whatnot?
Did they have trick or treating then? No, I don't think they did. I think we just got together. Usually the neighbors that I had, the friends, we'd just sit on somebody's porch and talk until about 10 o'clock, and then we'd all go home.
For Halloween?
Well, for any date, for any day, evening. We'd
Okay.
play football or baseball or basketball until dark, then we'd sit on a porch.
Okay.
And,
So you didn't do anything special for Halloween?
I don't believe, no, I can't think of anything, no.
Did you carve pumpkins?
Oh, yeah, we always had a pumpkin,
The jack-o'-lantern.
yeah.
Did you put a candle in it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then my mother would take the seeds and, what did you do, bake them?
I think so.
Bake them and
I think you
put
salt 'em
salt on
first,
them.
yeah.
Yeah. And we'd have pumpkin seeds then, which were good. And some of the people, my mother used to pull the curtains back, and my dad had a little table, and so it looked out, and people could see it.
Okay.
A lot of people did that. So,
I imagine during the Great Depression, going door to door and asking for candy was probably not a normal
no,
thing.
we never did that. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Talked about Christmas. Let me start with anniversaries here. When it came to your anniversary, did you guys do anything special?
We did until the kids came, and then we were just too busy. Now our first anniversary, we were in California,
Okay.
and Laurie bought me some beautiful pearls, and I still have them in there. And what did I buy him? All I can remember is the pearls. I was so thrilled with them. And that's all, because we had to get to bed early because he had to get up to fly again in the morning. We were very careful with our schedule.
Okay.
And because I said, what are you doing tomorrow? And he says, well, I've got 3 students. I've got to show them how to get out of spins. I thought, oh my heavens. And a lot of times in bed he would say, left, get the pressure. And his legs would go. And then he'd go like this. And he said then he would take it away from the student. And different things like that he'd do. And, well, watch it, eat a ball. And
You would talk in his sleep?
yeah. Every now and then he would, because the students wouldn't pay any attention to him or something. But as a rule, he didn't. I mean,
Okay.
but, what he did, it was loud.
Yeah, well,
Kneel and bow.
they got to hear you over the engine. That's
He
funny.
taught basic for a year,
Okay.
and then then it was orders to B-17s. And he learned how to fly those, and then he taught that.
Okay. So when you had been married 1 year, you were living in California,
Mm-hmm.
and he's teaching how to fly the B-17s?
Mhm.
Okay.
In New Mexico is where he learned to fly the 17s to teach.
Now you weren't married very long before Pat shows up. So, gotta find my timeline.
What is it? Let's see, we're married in 42, July.
And she's born at the end of 43.
43, yeah.
So you had that might have been the only anniversary you had without kids. Am I wrong? Am I doing the timeline wrong?
Yeah, I guess.
You were married in July of 42. So
Well,
the following July of I'm sorry.
Then we had the second
Thomas
anniversary.
Arthur was born on April 10th, 1952.
Who?
Thomas Arthur. Tom.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Who's Tom?
Yeah,
Tom was born in.
yeah, he was born. I got this down in my book.
That's a different Tom.
He was born.
No, it isn't.
No,
Born
he
April
wasn't
10th,
born. Did you say
52.
April?
Dorothy Jane,
That's Janny.
yeah, was born.
April 10th.
Then on March 23rd, 59,
That was Larry.
Larry
Larry.
Eugene was born.
Yeah, Larry was born then.
After Laurie died, Betty sold her home and moved into Windsor Park Manor in June 2004.
Yeah.
I got all that in here.
Oh.
You can't get away with it. Here's a picture of your husband, Betty and Laurie Crippen, 1942. The picture of them right here.
Oh, okay. I haven't got to the end of your book yet. I still have it
Yeah.
sitting next to mine.
Laurie received orders to report to Roswell, New Mexico, where he would instruct pilots to fly the B-17s.
Mm-hmm.
Following this period at the same base, he began to instruct the new B-29,
Right.
the largest plane in the world at the time, which was essential in the Pacific Theater against Japan.
Mm-hmm.
At Roswell, Betty gave birth to two girls.
Mm-hmm.
Who were they?
Pat and Jan.
Yeah. Pat Ann, December 28th, 43, and Janet Marie on April 8th, 45.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's where I'm checking my math. So if they're married in 42, in July,
Mm-hmm.
then the following July, which is 43, they have their first anniversary.
Right.
Pat is born at the end of 43, which means you only had one anniversary before you had kids.
Yeah, how about that? I never thought of that.
Huh. That happens fast. I was married 10 years before we had a kid, which I also, not the way nothing in my
Yeah.
life has turned out the way I would have guessed it, so I've stopped guessing.
Well,
I've just admitted
the
I
Lord
have no idea
wants
what's
it His
happening.
way.
All right. So you had one anniversary. So for your first anniversary, you were in California.
Mm-hmm.
You got pearls, and you went to bed early because he had to teach flying
Yeah.
the next day.
Yeah.
But then you moved to Roswell
In October
of 43. So
of
that
43, yeah, because
Okay.
Patsy was born there.
okay. So your second anniversary, you have Pat, and I see. I've got a year missing. So the second anniversary, you're in Roswell. You have Pat. The following year, your third year, you were married. You have Jen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were married 5 years when Tom was born, or somewhere about there.
No, he was born 47.
Right. So if you're married in 42, Tom's born in 47, you were married, you would have been
how
married
many
4 years
years
when he
we
was
were
born.
married. Oh.
It would have been your 5th anniversary
Yeah. Yeah.
when he was like 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I try to put things in timelines because
Yeah.
that's how my brain represents things visually. So when the kids were small, you didn't do anything special for your anniversary? You didn't leave them with
No.
a babysitter and go out, or?
No.
Okay.
We were enjoying our kids.
Okay.
And we had waited, and he dated and I dated, even though thought we wanted to get married. And when we did, we knew we were really in love. And we wanted a home, we wanted kids, so
Okay.
we were very happy.
Well, how about when the kids were older? I know they threw a 40th anniversary party for you because I was at that one.
Yeah.
But I remember very little because I was very little.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 40 years would have been 82.
Oh, is
Oh,
it?
golly, I would have been like 5 years old. So Yeah, I would have been 5, so I don't remember much.
No.
But
The kids always had anniversary parties for us, always.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
what did they do for you?
Well, they're not the presents because we didn't need anything. It was just food. Now, for one, let's see, I don't remember which what it was, but we have it in the movie. We went to the park, and all of us were there, and it just, I don't know. We just always were going to get together for things like that, and
Okay.
it was fun. I know when Laurie wanted his family always with him.
Mm.
And then I guess I told you about what Laurie did.
Well, you gave me a little brief overview, but I wanted to ask more in detail. Let's back up the story a little bit. When Richard decided to propose to Pat,
Mm-hmm.
did he talk to you guys first?
He talked to Laurie.
Okay, so how did that go?
I guess okay. So
Was-
they were going to get married, and
Was he good with that? Did he like Richard generally? Like,
well, he liked Richard. We both did, and we liked his family.
hmm,
But he wanted his family home. He didn't want anybody to leave.
hmm.
And so when we were preparing for the marriage, I didn't pay attention to it. And so he got sick. And he had bleeding
Just-
ulcers.
Just the stress of it.
Bleeding, what do they call it?
Hold on a second.
What is that?
The lawn crew is,
Oh,
is
yeah,
coming by.
close the door.
Want to make sure I can hear you.
Um,
So he was good with her marrying Rich, but the idea of her leaving home just
Yeah.
stressed him out.
You know, it was stress. So when Janice got married, I put him on his ulcer diet, so he wouldn't get sick again.
Okay.
And,
It was just like stomach pains kind of thing? The ulcer?
well, his stomach was bleeding,
Ugh,
yeah.
okay.
and I had him in bed for about a week
Really?
after the wedding. Yeah,
Why do you suppose it bothered him so much?
he wanted. I don't know. To him, he wanted. Well, when you left to
Right.
go get married, does he have to leave? I mean, people come to, and he just loves him so, he doesn't want anybody to leave. And I said, you'll see Patsy again. Oh, yeah, but it's not going to be the same. I don't know why he was that way.
Was he that way with all the kids?
Mm-hmm. All
Okay.
of them. And then you came to live with us, and you were going to get married, and you were going to Iowa. And I said, don't get sick. Now, don't do that.
Mm,
Whether he wasn't feeling good anyhow.
mm.
And so it was, I took him, well, remember, we took him to the doctor, and he said it wasn't pneumonia, there was nothing wrong with him. Well, there was.
Yeah.
So you had gone, and I took him to the hospital that Saturday, and it was Legionnaire's disease.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. That's what they finally discovered. They thought it was pneumonia, and
Okay.
they started with the penicillin right away.
Sure.
Didn't respond at all.
Huh.
So they didn't know. They made more tests and found out it was Legionnaire's. Well, nothing you can do for that. That's the worst case of pneumonia you can get, he told me.
Okay.
And he says there was no cure for it.
Okay.
What was that?
Well, so when Pat got married, it was 65.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if I'm doing the math here, Larry is 6 years old. Dee Dee is like 12 or 13. Tom's in the middle of high school. My mother's at the end of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So, were they all involved in her wedding? Or,
Well, Jan was, not Tom.
like, were they still close in high school? Like the kids? I mean, you said that they played well together as children, but as,
Yeah,
as they
yeah,
got
they
older,
went to school together, and when they had the same lunch period, they would be together.
Okay.
And they had 2 or 3 lunch periods. York was getting so crowded. They had schedules.
Right.
But luckily, my kids all went at the same time. They had to be at school at, well, you have to ask them. I can't remember now. I think it was 9, if I'm not mistaken, at 8:30. And they had schedules so that they could get everybody in with the teachers. So,
Okay. So did my mother stand up at Pat's wedding? Was she one of her bridesmaids?
uh-huh.
Okay. And was it at First Baptist?
Oh, yeah. I think
'Cause-
she was the maid of honor.
Okay, because Rich's family attended there.
Oh, sure.
Right. So both
Yeah.
both your families. Okay. No, I don't have dates or anything for the others, but I'm just sort of assuming in terms of, you know, how old they were. Who got married next? Was it Tom? or-
Janice.
It was my mother.
Janice.
Okay. Now, did my father's family attend First Baptist?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your father's father, Pete, was a Jew,
Right.
and he married a Gentile.
Uh-huh.
And his folks they didn't attend. And they burnt the candle of death.
Oh no.
Yeah,
They buried him.
they buried him. And
Did you-
so,
Did you know my grandparents? The
no, I
Weises?
never met him. Then when Francis was the first one they had, and they love children, all Jews do, I guess. Well, then they started talking to them. And then as the boys Larry got older, he discovered he had cousins in Chicago. He didn't know that before.
Right.
And so that they were friends then because of the kids.
So, but Pete and Margaret
Mm-hmm.
attended First Baptist.
Oh yeah,
So,
he was saved. He said, I don't understand it. He was in the he was a tough man.
Pete.
Pete. He was in the Jewish mafia.
Hmm.
And when he got married and became a Christian, he told him that he couldn't do it anymore. And because of God, they didn't kill him. They let him go.
Huh.
And I don't understand all that at all.
I'm not
All I
familiar
know
with
is
it.
this is what he told us. And
So, do you know if he became a Christian before he got married or
oh
after?
yes, he became a Christian before he got married.
Okay.
And then when they have this, they call it missionary house in Indiana, where missionaries can come back free of charge.
Yeah.
And they
I was forced to go there as a child, and I hated it.
Oh, were you? Oh, Sal.
Yeah.
And
French Lick, Indiana, right by
that's it. Yes.
where Larry Bird lives.
Yeah. And so Michael has the place now. At
So-
least he did.
So they were. I mean, this is my father's parents we're talking about. So they would have been your generation.
Mm-hmm.
But did you ever get to know them?
Oh, sure. I knew Marguerite, but Marguerite, with all the kids she had, was teaching Bible classes, and I thought she should be home with her kids,
Okay.
and because Larry hung around our house all the time because he got a meal at my house, and things like that.
If you feed the strays, they never go away.
The what?
If you feed the strays, they never go away.
Yeah. So
So is that how he?
I didn't get along with her because of that. I thought she should be home with her kids.
Okay.
And so I saw her, came, we were always nice to each other.
Hmm.
But, so,
Well, what were they like? I mean, busy, obviously, but
yeah,
what
both
kind-
of them were busy. Well, Pete wanted her home
Okay.
because he'd come home and there'd be no supper. And then he'd have to cook for the kids.
What did he do? I mean, after he left the mafia, what did he do as straight work?
He was, what do you call him? Ask Janice what
Okay.
he did. It was
This is the first time in my entire life I have ever wondered what he did for a living. It's never occurred to me before.
Well, something like a garbage man or picking up tin. I don't remember what he did. I can't.
Scrap metal.
Yeah,
He was in charge of a scrap metal yard because his son Mike inherited it.
that's right.
I had forgotten about that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'd also forgotten I
He
had
made
another
good
Uncle
money.
Mike.
He made good money in that.
Okay.
But
Did you know anything about this whole Jewish mafia thing he was part of?
no, that's all I know.
That's all I know too.
And so then I got to thinking, maybe he's pulling my leg. So I've never mentioned it to anybody because of that. I don't know if he was kidding or if it really happened.
You know, I have a half dozen stories from my father that are the same way, where I'm like, I don't know what he told me was true and what he was making
Yeah.
up.
Well, that's the way Pete was. Oh, I
Okay,
have
so
to tell
that's
you.
genetic.
I have to tell you how Pete died. He always, when they were down in Indiana, he was always at the coffee shop with these three fellas, and never talked about the Lord, and they just had a good time, and he knew his time was coming. So he asked the Lord. He said, "I got to talk to them. I've never talked to them," and he prayed about it. And that morning, he went and talked to them about Jesus, told them all about it, and whether, I don't know if any have accepted Jesus or not, and with home to cut the grass, and he got on the hill, and it rolled over on him, and he died.
So he just got crushed by a tractor?
Yeah, that is
Okay.
true. That's how he died.
Well, it was tractor related. I thought maybe he'd had a heart attack and fallen off of it.
Well, maybe he had a heart attack. I don't know. All
Okay.
I know is that fell over on him, and they said that's what it was. So
That's rough. Well, at least he was doing the Lord's work at the end.
yeah, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that you don't remember exactly when my when my parents got married.
I don't know.
I mean, Pat's married in '65, so it's sometime after that.
Yeah, but when
Um,
was it?
Yeah, I can look it up later. I can ask her.
Yeah, she'll tell you.
So I'm assuming Tom was the next to get married.
Hmm.
Do you? So where did he meet Shar then? Was she a York student?
No, she was for the Villa Park School,
Willowbrook?
high school, and how did they meet?
She went to Willowbrook?
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
I think she was in our young people's classes at church at night, and that's how
Okay.
they met. I'm not sure. Ask Jan if I'm right.
Okay. Well, her family was Catholic, weren't they?
No.
Or were they not?
No. Shar was a adopted child,
Right.
and her mother was a Christian,
Oh, okay.
and so was her aunt. She
Oh.
lived with those two. My mother-in-law, I had her at the Elmhurst, like old people's home, like this, and she was bedridden, and then I came in to see her. I used to go and feed her, and I came in and she said, "Tom and Shar are getting back together." I said, "Are they? They call you?" She says, "No, the Lord told me."
Hmm.
And so with that, I get a phone call. And when I got home, Tom says, Shar and I and the baby are back home in Antioch.
Hmm.
So several times she would tell me things and they happened. She said the Lord told her.
Well,
She was a saint. You would have loved her.
this was your mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She was quite a gal. She would call and she'd say, "I want Tom for the weekend. Is that okay?" I said, "Sure." And so then she talked to Tom, and he said, "Yeah, he'd like to come, and okay, bring a friend." whoever he brought, they would get a Bible study. And the one, Ricky, was in the Vietnam War, and he was like a paramedic. And he said, you get so scared when you have to go and everything. And he says, but all of a sudden a verse would come to my mind that she had taught him. And he came back. He had to tell us this, and so I thought, well, that's good. I don't know where he is now. He wanted to be a doctor, and so I don't know where he is. So she was, no matter who came to the house or if she was out in the neighborhood or anything, she'd talk about the Lord.
That's good.
And when she had her appendix, they burst. Now she's in her 70s.
Oh.
And her mother Crippen, and she had tubes in her and everything. So when she woke up, I was there, and she says, "Oh, Betty, I thought I'd see my Jesus." She was so disappointed she didn't die. And so the nurse heard that, and she, "Oh my heavens, I'll go with the doctor. There's something wrong with her." So the doctor came in and he looked at the nurse. He said, "There's nothing wrong with this woman. She's got a mind better than yours or mine." And he said, she said, "Stick around. She'll tell you all about Jesus." And so the nurse looked at her, but I'll never forget that.
That's funny.
Oh, I'll get the doctor. Something's wrong with her mind. Oh.
Well, I had intended to focus on the weddings in the family. So when Tom decided to marry Shar, do you remember him telling you that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Were any of these surprises, or these are all like you know when your kids got married, you just knew this was they had found the one they were going to marry?
Yeah. Well, they were going steady, and he liked her an awful lot, yeah. And so we weren't surprised.
Okay. But they met through
And,
church, you said? They met through that church youth group?
Yeah. And
Okay.
they were married in our church,
Okay.
in a First Baptist. And we had the reception down in the basement.
Okay.
And then she left. No, he left then for Germany. And she was going to come over.
Wait, I'm sorry. He left for Germany? So he got taken into the army short after this?
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened was he was in college, and he got double pneumonia.
Oh.
And he finished the exams for the first semester and came home, and he was in bed. I had him in bed for about a week. And then one of the neighbors said, "Isn't that Tom's car?" He had a car for a course. And I said, "Yeah, he's home in bed." I said, "He has double pneumonia." And I said, "But he's healing." So she goes, her husband's at the draft office. She goes to the draft office and tells him that Tom is home. And so they sent him a note, he was being drafted. Well, then I called because he was still sick and told him, I said, he's sick, but he got dropped out and he's going back to school. Sorry, he's drafted. And that was it. And it was her. They needed his schedule. If he needed 2 more boys or something, I don't remember. But anyways, their son was available, and they didn't want to send him, so they sent Tom.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I didn't. One of the girls at work told me.
So
that
he
was that.
he wound up in Germany, but did he ever see? Well, what time period was this? Was this Vietnam?
The way he got into Germany was the general came down to. He was in Oklahoma, and he said, all with college education or in college, and came in, step forward. Well, he stepped forward, and he says, "Okay, I want your names. You're all going to Germany." And so that was that. And so he went to Germany, and he was a sergeant, I guess, and he was in secret work. And they were told not to go near the border and what to do. And he said, it's so secret, I don't know what we're doing. But he was typing. He had to learn how to type.
Okay.
And so I asked him once, I said, what were you doing? He says, I don't know. He says, I didn't type anything secret. He says, I had no idea. But we were in that group, or whatever they call it. So,
Okay.
and then Char came over there. And they,
She went to Germany?
and they were there together. How long was he there? I don't know. I'd have to ask him how long he was there. But they were there until he was shifted back here.
Okay, so
Oh, I guess that's when the war was over. I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
was he out of the army before Troy was born, or was he still in the army when
No,
Troy
no,
was born?
he was out of the
He was
army.
out. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, because they were in living in Antioch. He found a big, huge building that they weren't using anymore. It was the ice house.
Okay.
And so he took that, and he and your grandpa made a house out of it. I've got pictures of it. And so that was their house. They were so big it could have a living room, dining room, three bedrooms, I think, 3 bedrooms, and then he put a porch on it, and then he put what do you call it? That the light hits it, or the sun hits it, and it warms up, and they could use their porch. They had storm windows for them, in whenever the sun was out. And
Was that the place on that lake?
yeah, Herrick Lake.
Okay. Herrick Lake. I do remember that well.
No, that's not Herrick Lake. That's
Not?
it's one of the chain of lakes, because we could see it from their house.
Yeah, it was like out their back door, there were steps down, there was a street, and then there was another row of houses, and then the water. So you could see it from the
Yeah.
back of the house.
No, we could see it from the front of the house.
Was that the front of the house? Okay, well, then we came in the back of the house.
Yeah, we came in the back way.
See, in my head, we came in that way, so that was the front. I never
Yeah.
thought about it the other way. Okay. I'm learning all kinds of things. I've had everything backwards. Not a surprise. So what was the timeline of events between Tom winding up in the military and Tom getting married? Because I'm a little shuffled there.
He wasn't in the service when he got married.
Did he get married after he got out?
No,
Or before? He got married before.
Yeah,
So
because
he was in college.
Because he was in college.
Okay,
And then they were married, and then he was sent to Germany then.
gotcha. Okay. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, let's see what time it is before I move on here. It's noon.
Oh, is it already?
You
Okay.
got a few more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dee Dee married Mike. Michael, what did he go by?
Mike.
He just went by Mike. Okay. Did he go to York? Did they meet at school?
Yeah.
Okay. You know anything about how they met, or?
Well, I don't remember. I don't know if they were the same class or what, because he was Catholic.
Right. Did he
And,
live in or near Elmhurst?
He went to IC with his folks when he went, and then they stopped going, so he wasn't going to church.
Okay.
So Dee Dee, of course, was always going to church,
Right.
so he would go with her.
Okay.
And I know he was on the verge of coming to the Lord. And when she was pregnant. Let me think. When was it? I can't remember now. But they went to that church because little Mike, he went to that church, and Richie, they were little, and then when she got sick, he stopped going, and so that was that.
Okay. So did she bring him to First Baptist then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And she wanted to be married at her church, and the minister wouldn't marry him because he wasn't saved. And so they were married in a Catholic church.
Now, was that a clash or a conflict with the two of you with her?
What conflict between who?
You and her father, like the fact that she wanted to marry an unsaved Catholic. Was that something where?
No, we didn't have any conflict. I mean, that was it.
Okay.
And I told her I didn't like it, I didn't approve, but I said, okay.
Okay.
So we gave her a nice marriage.
So they got married in. Where did they get married?
I see.
Oh, that's in Elmhurst too.
That's it.
Immaculate Conception. Gotcha. Okay. All right.
But even after that, they went to our church.
Okay.
They went to, right, because she wouldn't go to the Catholic. He already knew this, and they had discussed it, I guess. And she went, so he went with her.
Okay.
And so they were there, and then when the baby was born, they would take him, and because those kids were going when they were little. And then when she got sick, I had the kids, plus you guys.
That's true.
You remember? And I was losing weight because I was so tired. I wanted to enjoy the kids and hope they had a good time, but I was so tired. And Lori said, we've got to do something. Well, in the meantime, Mike found a lady and to take care of her boys, his boys.
Right.
So we used to pick him up sometimes Sundays morning after church because he didn't want him to go to church. He was against everything because of his wife dying. And so we would pick him up and take him out to brunch someplace. So we'd be with him.
Sure.
And the lady that was taking care of them, her little boy would come with. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say, you can't come. So the three boys would come, we'd take them out, and that's the way it was.
Okay. So that leaves Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Debbie's from Alaska. So where did he meet an Alaskan girl?
Oh, Debbie, at college, Northwestern Bible College.
Where is that?
In Minnesota.
Oh, wait a minute. They both went to a Bible college?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, he was going to one in Rhode Island. It's a very well-known Christian college, and the people were the Easterners. Wear shirts and ties and suits to college, to classes, and are very reserved. And he said he'd go by and he'd say hi, like what we would do, and and he says, I'm leaving. I'm not staying here. So he went.
Okay.
He was up to Minnesota. He was either going there or to Bethel. And the first college he went to check out, why, as he was crossing the lawn to get to the door, someone said, "Hi there," and he said, "That's it. I'm going here." So he did.
So that's
And
where he met
that's where he
her.
met her.
Okay. Now, what do you remember about meeting her?
Well, he called and he wanted to know if he could bring a girl that was from Mexico, from Alaska, home, she had, her folks were up there and she'd be alone. I said, oh, sure, bring her. So he did.
For like Christmas break or something?
It was Christmas break.
Okay.
So I was painting then. So I asked
yeah.
him for a picture because I didn't know what to get her for Christmas. And so he sent me a picture of where she was staying in Juneau. And so I painted that picture and gave it to her for Christmas. And very nice. Her father was a minister, and he opened churches.
Okay.
When he got the church going, he planted churches.
Sure.
Then they'd be sent someplace else. And so that they were in, and they had met. Her father and mother had met at that college. So they sent her there.
Okay.
So, and then they wanted to meet him because she was getting serious about him. So they invited him up there when school was out that summer. And I said, oh dear, how much is rent up there if you get a room? He said, no, they got a big trailer, they've got a room for me. I said, all right, then remember your manners. And I said, everything that I've been to do, I've taught you. And so he said, oh, that's all right, Mom, I'm fine. So he got a job up there.
Oh, yeah.
And he was moving furniture here. He worked for a furniture, Begans? I can't remember. It starts with a B. And so we got one up there with the same company. And they moved. They get good pay. And he said they were at one spot, and the lady was telling them where to put things. They were bringing them in. And she sat down in a chair. And so they were bringing him in, and he says, where did you want this, ma'am? And he said she didn't answer. So he went over there. She died.
Oh, jeez.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
That was quite a shock. And but they had a good time, and I guess they approved of my son. I asked him if he remembered his manners. Because a Sunday dinner, a lot of times we have it at home, and I was very formal. I had the water glasses and everything, and when they came, they had to be dressed nice, which they were for church anyhow, and napkins on the lap and everything, and so so they knew manners. You know, we would teach them that. So, and so that was once a month, I think I did that. So,
Now, where did Larry and Debbie get married? Because I
Larry
remember
and Debbie?
being there, but I don't remember anything about it.
they got married at the college.
Where? The one in Minnesota?
In Northwestern.
Really?
It was very nice. The chaplain married him, which they knew him.
Okay.
And
This is the real early 80s, if I remember.
yeah,
Because again, I was there, but I don't remember anything about it.
yeah. I had Dee Dee with me. She was, remember she had that brain tumor, and I had her with me.
Okay.
And so she was okay. I had watched her. And when I thought she was getting too tired, I would take her and have her take a nap. So, but she did okay.
All right. Well, that gets us through the next generation and from the 60s up to the 80s.
How about that?
Big time span. I think I already asked this, but just in closing, the 1960s was the whole British invasion and the Beatles and rock and roll and all that. Now, your kids were into that to some extent, but you didn't like it. Do you remember any specifics?
No, except that if they wanted to listen to that music, they had to go in their bedroom and close their door. I didn't want to hear any of that junk.
Okay. So they had their own radios and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, do you remember watching the moon landing in '69?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I forgot it now, but yes, we saw that.
Okay. Do you watch it at home?
Yeah.
Did you have people
We
over?
had a TV. Mm-hmm.
Now, for you, was it something casual, like something interesting's on, or was it an event? Did you have like family and friends over?
No, everybody was just at their own house watching, I think,
Okay.
you know.
All right. I didn't know.
Yeah.
You never know. Did it seem significant at the time? Like, did it seem like a big deal that like people are going to ask us about this moment, or is it just like the interesting thing happening right now? And
It's just the interesting thing that look at what science has done.
Okay.
I mean, what are they going to do next? Yeah.
okay, looking back at it 50 years later, like in my head, and of course the way I was raised with it, it's like this was such a big monumental moment. It was this big first step. Like, but would it have seemed that way at the moment? Like at the time, a lot of people thought it was fantastic, but like you never know what people are going to look back at 50
Yeah.
years later.
A lot of people too didn't believe it. They thought it was a setup on a movie set.
Some people still believe that.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah, the internet has been big for conspiracy theories. So there's a huge movement of people who think that we never went to the moon. There is a rising population of people who think the Earth is flat. That's on the rise again.
They're
thanks
going
to
to
the
fall
internet.
off someplace, huh?
Well, it's a whole thing. And unfortunately, it started to eke its way into the church. I have had a conversation with a guy named Scott who's convinced, however badly, that the Bible teaches that the earth is flat. And he's all like, well, what do you do with this verse? And I'm like, if you interpret it properly, it does not say the earth is flat.
In Isaiah, it says round. When I come to it, I'll find it, and because we're reading Isaiah now, and I'll
It's I don't remember where it is, but it's the Lord hangs the circle of the earth or the ball of the earth
That's
on
it.
a thread of nothing.
It's Isaiah.
You can interpret it, I mean, the Hebrew is ambiguous enough that you can say circle or ball.
Yeah.
It's the same word. So, again, I was raised with the Lord hangs the ball of the earth on a thread of nothing, which made no sense up until we understood
Right.
I mean, like nearly, well, golly, that's Isaiah, so probably 2,000 years later.
3,000, I bet. Well,
Maybe.
when
I don't
was
know.
Moses?
Moses was 1500 BC, roughly. So Isaiah
And
would have
that
been.
Isaiah was before that. No,
No, he was
wasn't.
after.
It was after
Yeah,
that.
he was one of the minor
Yeah.
or major
Yeah,
prophets.
it could be 2,000 then.
But it wasn't really until the development of physics in like the 16 or 1700s that we started to understand that. And now we're like, wow. But I mean, the problem is we have, like in Genesis and in various other, like half a dozen places where it uses a particular word in the Greek version of the Hebrew that one of the translations is for the sky. There's a word that's translated as like a hard, flattened out. It's the word you would use to indicate the flattening out of metal to make a shield. So it's because the sky is this big kind of dome. When you look up, it just has that arc to it. And so the Greek word that the Septuagint uses to translate the Hebrew word uses that word that can mean both things. But basically it just means sky. You look at the original Hebrew, it's just talking, the sort of the usage of it in those other places just means that up there.
Yeah.
It's not specific about what it's made of or where it is, just that it's above.
Yeah.
And so, but because if you go to the Greek Septuagint and one of the translations that the Greek has for that word, then you can say, oh, the Bible says that the sky is a hard, solid dome. I'm like, yeah, but you got to go through several hoops before you get there. And you don't get that from the Hebrew. You get that from one of the Greek translations of the Greek word that those translators used for sky. So it's not a good argument, but because of the internet and because people are lazy, they're all like, look, the Bible says the earth is flat and the sky is a solid dome. And they go, oh, okay. And now they're like, you don't believe the Bible. And I'm like, no, I believe the Bible, but you're jumping through multiple unnecessary hoops to say the Bible says that when the Bible doesn't say that.
Yeah.
So flat earth is on the rise, and I've had to talk to some of them.
Good.
We're living in a weird time.